Have this dangerous feeling.
From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to another conversation with Trent and his beautiful friends. Good stuff, man. We got a good one here tonight. We got a real good one here tonight. We're going to be sensitive to the topic, but we're going to constantly be transparent on this particular topic. It's a topic that comes from off the heels of the conversation we had last Sunday, talking about single doesn't equal loneliness. And we, got to go on some, several different topics, as we do always during the gumbo talk and whatnot. And we're talking about hypersexuality. That's right, hypersexuality, the magnetic pull. So let's bring Shann in. Coach Dee is bringing up the rear. One sec. Oh, somebody doing a night ride. What's going on?
I am, so I'll be off camera for a bit, but I just thought I'd hop in and say hi on camera first.
Good stuff.
Mommy duty call. So I'm multitasking as us women normally do.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm still showing up. I'm still showing up and fulfilling my obligation here.
Good stuff. Waiting on Coach D to bring up the rear, because this is a topic that you guys chose as far as the hypersexuality.
Yeah, it kind of came out during the midst of conversation last week. And I think the other part of it was kind of diving into the historical trauma or the history of trauma that can lead to hypersexuality. So I think Coach Dee was going to have some more information on that, things to share for us to recognize. I guess the behaviors and maybe some tools and resources to kind of navigate through that trauma.
Exactly.
And maybe not
get it.
Have that hypersexual behavior.
Exactly. I mean, it's honestly, I could agree with it that it's attached to some type of situation, some type of issue. So I could agree partly with it, but I'm gonna let D take that and let her do a thing with it. But hypersexuality, what I find, we got to be mindful if the partner's having that issue as far as hypersexuality and always wanting it, always needing it. I got to be careful how we have those conversations.
But is that hypersexuality, or is that like being a nympho?
That's my thing. But I was told, be careful what you say, because it's a sensitive subject. I'm like, yeah, it is, but we're all adults here, so gotta be transparent.
So that would be it. Yeah, you know what? I didn't think about that, because that would be very interesting to see what Coach Dee says about as far as like defining the difference between the two.
Exactly, because there's a thin line. Because the conversation, how it came about, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and he and his partners going through it. But he stated the line, and it just blew me away when he said that. He was like, man, I said, man, you've been dealing with this toxic stuff for about 17 years. Why you keep, going, this whole magnetic pull, man? What's going on with that? And he pretty much said that the sex is just too good. I just got to have it. I got to have her. And I'm like, huh? That blew my mind. So I was like, wow, that's a little different for me.
Wait, they really said that? Your friend really said that to you?
Yeah, that's how it came up on you guys were responding to what I told you guys, the conversation between my friend and I. He said he got to have her. He got that. I'm like, damn, man.
When talk to her, because I want to know what she's doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't ask her, so I don't. I don't know. She got to be doing something after 17 years. He can't seem to get away from
What's
her.
the what was that movie Boomerang where he's talking about Marcus?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Marcus talking Pussy Williams
Marcus,
about
Marcus. Yeah,
yes, by Robin Human's
absolutely,
character.
absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. So yeah, that's where it came from.
Wow.
Yeah, that's where the topic
Interesting.
stems from that conversation I had with him. Because he had me a bit confused after that phone call because he was calling, wanted to talk, and we got into it. And I'm like, wow, dude. I say, so you actually just straight up going off the law of nature with this situation, and you know she's toxic.
Mm,
That's all you're interested in, the law of nature. So you'll take them blows to get you a little bit. So that
dang. Yeah.
so I agree, it's deeper than what's on the surface. Gotta be. That's
Yeah.
17 years
That's
of
crazy.
straight trauma and drama. 17 years. So
Yeah, that's
I don't
crazy.
know.
17 years.
So we'll gumbo
Yeah.
talk real quick before you get out, before D come in. Yeah, man, this weekend was action packed for me. As you know, I don't get out much, and we had
Wait.
almost like a four horseman type situation going on with the cookout, and we hadn't done that in years, so
Yeah, what
had a
was
good
it? The
time.
15 days after Juneteenth? So you weren't. It's
Yeah,
not the 4th of July for you. It's the
no,
15
not at
days
all.
after
It's the 15
Juneteenth.
days after after Juneteenth, 15 days. So my people
Oh
wasn't free on the
gosh.
fourth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had a good time, man. Torrance did his thing. Al Sal always do his thing and whatnot, and time was had.
Yeah,
Everybody had a good time.
I saw your pictures. I didn't know Torrance was throwing down like that. I was like, how
Yeah, I
many
had a
people
good
did you
time.
guys have? That was a lot of food.
It was a 2 day. It turned into a 2 day event. So
2 days.
yeah, because normally, like before, when we used to do the Four Horsemen cookouts, it would be an entire weekend, like 3 days, Friday,
Oh, okay.
Saturday, and Sunday. So I just didn't have the stamina to keep going. So it was actually 2 days. It was cool. So Torrance
Yeah,
did a great job. He did a
Alvin.
real good job.
Who was doing the grilling? Wait, was that a smoker and a grill
It was
that
smoke.
you guys had?
Oh, baby, we do it up. We do it up. We do it up.
Oh,
It was a
excuse
smoker,
me.
a grill, a fryer as far as for the fish and the shrimps and all that stuff. Then there was another
Oh,
grill for the char grilled oysters and all that stuff. And yeah,
oh, those char grilled oysters down there are amazing. Is it Dragos?
yeah.
Dragos? How do you pronounce it? They have the best I've ever had.
Not the
Char
William
grilled
boys
oysters.
had the best. The William boys had the best. Curtis and my
Well, I don't.
nephew, Richard. So Curtis and my
I
nephew
don't
Richard.
know. There were no. I think the time I was there and they had the whole cookout. There weren't any oysters. All the
Now
food was
we
delicious,
didn't do it.
so I know it was good.
Why
So I know.
technically we didn't have the oysters because I didn't like the company. So we didn't
Okay.
have the oysters.
What that means, but okay. I don't really
You know
know
what
what
I'm
that
talking
means, but
about. You
okay.
know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't even remember that night that well. So,
That is
uh,
hilarious. Let's bring Coach D in so we can get this thing started. One sec. D, how you
Hey,
doing?
I'm good. How are
hey,
you?
Coach Dee. Good.
Hey.
Good. How's it going on that end?
And I would StreamYard wouldn't let me in.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
One
Okay.
second. Hey, you forgot the cat. I told him to take the cat out. He left the cat and close the door.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is live streams. Live streams, as you all know, we do it transparent on this end. So good stuff, real good stuff. Again, we're talking about hypersexuality, the magnetic pull. We're gonna be sensitive about it, but we're also gonna be adults and be real about it. I got a ton of questions for Coach D on this situation with the hypersexuality and whatnot. To some I know it's a bit, touchy for them, but I think that through communication, we can get to the root cause of the problem. As far as even, how it came about, as far as with the topic, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, like I was telling Shannon in the opening. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and after 17 years of a toxic relationship and still in a relationship, I asked him a question. I said, why you continue to go back and forth with this woman? What's going on with that? And he specifically said, straight up, he just had to have the sex. He was just pulled to her. I'm like, wow. And I found that quite interesting. So take it away. What you got on hypersexuality, Coach Dee?
That's not
And the root-
hypersexuality.
What you call it?
Just somebody who's in a toxic relationship and has a trauma bond. Here's the thing. In the U.S., the home of purity balls, you guys have a very deformed view of what sex and sexuality is. Right? Like, people don't understand that gender's fluid, sexual identity, all this stuff. Those are all fluid, right?
Yeah.
So hypersexuality is not somebody who likes sex. It's not somebody who likes sex with a lot of sex with other people. That's not hypersexuality.
That's
Hypersexuality
interesting.
is a medical condition. It is a physical condition where it's compulsive, where they can't stop it. Liking sex is not hypersexuality.
Okay.
But
having to have it. So you don't find that if that's all he could think about, that's not a problem. If it's this interrupting his work, is interrupting his relationship, is interrupting everything, his everyday life. That's not a problem.
Compulsive? Is it a compulsion?
In my opinion, I believe
not asking your opinion. Are they medically diagnosed? I'm
giving you my opinion, but
are they medically diagnosed?
Now, Coach D, you know they're not.
Come on, no, he's not. I don't know if he's not. No, he's not.
You know your friend up there in the corner just be talking up, trying to diagnose those symptoms.
I'm giving my opinion. These are my opinions.
The community diagnosis is what he be up there giving.
Yeah, he just likes having sex with that one person.
No, I think it's a little deeper than that. I think it's a little deeper than that.
It fills a void. Like, I hate to do it, but Mark gave the definition of what hypersexuality is, and he's right? So, did you guys read it already?
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you do the comments, Coach Dee? I'm actually, yes, you can see I'm mobile.
Yeah.
So yes, I was gonna say we need to define that.
Hypersexuality, also known as a compulsive sexual behavior disorder, a condition characterized by persistent and intense sexual thoughts, urges, or behaviors that are difficult to control and cause significant distress or impairment in a person's life. It's not simply about having a high sex drive or enjoying frequent sexual activity, but rather an inability to manage sexual impulses or behaviors leading to negative consequences.
Okay, right? I'm not disagreeing with that at all.
Right.
And so the write-up, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say, so is hypersexuality the same as being someone who may have a sex addiction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. It's a medical diagnosis. There's an issue going on.
He wasn't diagnosed, but I think he's an info.
So then where does that fall? If someone's an info.
So here's the thing. He may just have a really high sex drive and just like having sex with that person. That doesn't mean he's an info either.
Wait a minute.
It's not a medical diagnosis.
I get what you're saying. But his words verbatimly was, I gotta have it. I gotta have her. I'm like, dude, for real? Like, so you just gonna exclude that you got all that toxic going on, and you thinking about the Lord? That's all you can think about when you're away from her? Like, they split up. They split for a minute. They're always splitting up. And he called. We talk. I say, dude, so you're gonna forget everything that she did, everything that you guys done, all that toxic mixed up in that bowl, and you going back because you gotta have it? You gotta have her?
Repeat after me. They are in a trauma bonded relationship.
I know. We cleared that up on a previous
sex is
podcast.
Part of the trauma bond. The high, the low, the low. The sex is part of the high.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why we have the resident. That's why we have the resident trauma coach, the wonderful Coach Dee. Go ahead, continue, Dee.
I'm like, you give me a headache. So he's just in like I said last week, he's in a trauma bond. It's not hypersexuality. There's highs and lows. The highs are he gets a sexual high. right?
So
The
you
lows
don't.
are fighting all this stuff. It's a trauma bond.
So you don't think that's the borderline of hypersexuality?
No, 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 no.
Explain why, please.
Because if he breaks that trauma bond, then that I need it, gotta have it is gone.
Okay.
If he cuts ties with her, that it eliminates it, right? If he no longer has access to it, it's eliminated. If you have
Got you.
hypersexuality, that does not stop because
Got
it's
you.
not person specific. He's person specific.
Got you.
So
Got you.
hypersexuality is not person specific.
Right. It's specific to the
Okay.
person who has it, but it doesn't matter who the other person is.
Who they're with. Okay.
Yeah.
So that kind of explains the compulsion.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's
But
something they can't control. So
go ahead,
but
Shannon.
what?
Go ahead. But you have
No, I
to
was
you have to
finished.
you have
But
to
what?
ask a person that like that. You have to ask them the questions to make sure it's not, because if it's interfering in his life, if it's interfering in different aspects of his life, he's on that borderline. I get
No,
what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you, D. But
he's not. He's in a trauma
if it's
bond.
is interfering with his work, we'll check that one off. It's interfering with his life, we'll check that one off. So that's 2 on that list that make that look like it's hypersexuality,
How is it interfering with his work?
because he don't go.
Did he not go before?
He used to work for me, so this been happening. This been happening.
Hold on. Time out, sir. What? He worked for you when? I haven't been knowing you
This
for
was
several
5
years.
years
I've never
ago.
heard this person.
Hold on a second,
So this
because
was
that's his business. I talked to him 3 weeks ago, and without going into detail, he was with one of my brothers. He had to go with one of my brothers.
I mean,
But
you're
it's the same.
giving too much detail. You're giving too much detail right now. Too much information. All
Yeah,
the
but
point I was making, and I'm sorry to
again,
interrupt you, but you were interrupting me when I was trying to get my point across. That what you're responding to has nothing to do with my point, because I'm trying to understand. This was so he worked for you. So this was
I think she's
working for
missing
you.
the point. Listen,
No,
it's the
you're missing
same
the point.
guy. I just
What I'm
recently talked to him about his issue. It's the same
okay.
guy. It's the same guy, and he's still doing the repetitive thing. When I said 17 years, he was doing this shit 5 years ago. Same
So
thing.
did he stop working for you? Did he stop working for you, with you, or for you because of this? Like, that's the point. That's what I'm trying to
He was
understand.
allowing it to interfere in his work. He was allowing it to interfere in his work. That's why I wrote it up like I did.
Okay.
He was allowed back then, 5 years ago, past 5 years now. He was allowing it to interfere in his work. And then talking to him 3 weeks ago, I'm like, damn, you're still doing the same thing. This is the same thing.
So was it
Go ahead.
was it a problem when he worked for you? Like, was he not showing up to work? Was it?
Yeah.
I mean, was that an issue? Oh, okay.
No show, no call, no show. It's the same thing. So after I had a conversation with him 3 weeks ago, I'm like, damn, dude, you still going through the same thing. This is the same thing. It's hypersexuality.
It's not
You
hypersexuality.
You're being led by the law of nature. But go ahead. I get what you're saying, OD.
No, you don't get what I'm saying, because if you did, you wouldn't be saying it again.
Thank you, Coach Dee. That's
Let's say hello to my gym buddy. Hey, Tamika, hi sis, how you doing?
Tamika, next time you're can you knock him with a
right
something? You knock some sense into him.
There you go. You know, it's my kid condition sometimes.
Oh my
Mark
God.
says,
Oh my
Mark
God.
Not
says,
your condition. You've always been like that.
Stop it.
Slash says, keep it a wonder. His wife knows how to make his toes curl up. 2 things can be true. Some can make toxic traits for the booty, and private speak, of course, also known as being pee whooped.
There it is, right there.
Two things can be true at the same time.
It's still not hypersexuality, though.
Let's get down to the get down.
Hypersexuality,
he also says,
but unusually high sex drive and related behaviors can be associated with ADHD, but it's not diagnostic criteria for ADHD itself. Some individuals with ADHD may May what?
He'll continue. He'll continue.
Experience hypersexuality due to factors like impulsivity and difficulties with emotional regulation, potentially leading to risky sexual behaviors or problematic pornography use.
Sound like
Yeah.
my buddy. Sounds like my buddy.
Still not a medical diagnosis.
I'm agreeing with you. It's not. He's not. He's not diagnosed with it. He's not. Not at all.
He's not. He's in a trauma bond. He just likes who he's like. It's easy to get. It's easy access.
Right. No, I'm totally 100% agreeing with you with the trauma bond. Totally 100% agreeing with you that trauma bond, because at 17 years of trauma, 17 years of drama, all that stuff. So yeah, that's good. I get it. I get it.
It's easy to get what he wants to get. So
Right. So I got a couple of questions here for you.
Mm.
But what was the about? What was that about? Because
Go
I was told
Go ahead.
I was told to be sensitive and allow Coach Dee to lead, because I tend to put my foot in my mouth. So I'm gonna be very sensitive. I don't want to.
Would you just ask your questions?
Right.
Stop it. Knock it off. But now, listen, honestly though. So if you find out, let's talk about hypersexuality for a second, right? How would you give them advice on communicating to their partner if their partner's actually saying, "Hey, man, we got to give this a rest. We got to." How would you approach that? What type of advice would you give him?
I wouldn't give him any advice, because that's therapy. They would have to do couples therapy.
Right. I get
So
it.
I am trauma trained, but I am not a therapist. So that's definitely a therapist conversation. And a therapist would help them to negotiate what they want to reveal,
Right.
and and help them with the conversation, because they'd be in neutral territory, and they'd have to have that conversation and advise them what their hypersexuality looks like and all that good stuff.
Well, let's hover back over Mark's comment, because I'm going along those lines with what's that? Which one of those where he said that she was working it or whatever? Let's
Go back up.
You got it right here. Can
Keep
you
it
read that?
100.
I can't see it.
He said, "Keep it 100. His wives know how to make his toes curl up. Who think can be true? Somebody can look past their mate's toxic traits for their booty and prior to speak. Of course, also knows being pussy whipped. But
Exactly.
that's not sexuality. That's just sexuality.
But now, as you remember on the tape, and I'll run a couple of different tapes from last week when I said, me personally, I believe that he was being manipulated. I don't think you ladies agreed with me when I said it. Y'all didn't agree, because I believe that he was being manipulated, continues to be manipulated throughout the years. Mark has a point there. So
Being manipulated how?
if she know how to work the middle and how to get him to do exactly what she want him to do, that's manipulation with the middle. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, so what you're saying is he can't control his dick. He only has one brain.
Dee.
No, because here's the thing. We give people too much leeway. Like, you're a grown adult. You can make choices about your sexual behavior. Like, to say he can't control it, that she's manipulating. I'm like, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, I did say that we were going to be transparent. And to the viewers that said that, let Coach Dee lead this talk, because I was going to say something out of line.
I'm not out of line. I'm telling you. What? People are going to get upset because I said D? Please.
No. But
Flash says, I owe Mr. Epic. Close the doors, because the gentleman I'll refer to as Joe Blow, his French doors are off on the hinges.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Meaning just watch out, not giving up too much detail about Joe Blow. But I mean, Joe Blow knows exactly, because I told him I'd have the conversation on this topic. So Joe Blow knows he has a problem, and that's what friendships are for. Very transparent.
The advice I would give to him, because he's a grown man who's having consensual sex with somebody else. My issues that I have is, are there red flags in the relationship? If there's red flags in the relationship, then have some couple counseling and sort it out.
Right.
Having a lot of sex in a relationship is not a red flag. It's the other stuff that's the red flags. Like,
right.
I mean, that should be a good thing in a relationship.
You don't say.
Yeah. I'll go back. I'm going back on mute now.
Listen, here's the thing. People, and I will say this is U.S. specific because you're stuck with the Puritans who were kicked out because they wanted to force a religion on everybody else. But in the land of purity balls, which has got to be the grossest thing I've ever heard of, sex is so taboo here. Like, it's ridiculous. And if somebody wants to have a lot of sex, there's obviously something wrong with them. No, it's human. They're normal. Right? They have a normal sex drive.
For context, just tell the viewers who don't know, I'm more than sure everybody knows, she's just not pointing the finger at the States. She's not from here. She wasn't born in this place. So yeah. Yeah, it is quite taboo here in the States.
Yeah, there's no Puritan balls in other places.
I got to be honest with you, though. I've had
is giving purity rings to their daughters anywhere else.
Yeah,
I gotta
agree with you. I gotta be honest with you. The greatest sex I've ever had was abroad.
Here's the thing. All too often people get so caught up in, well, they're having sex a lot. That's not right. Like, what's a lot, right? It only becomes an issue if it's a medical issue. It becomes a compulsion if they have to get it fixed, like they're on drugs or something. Right? If they have to start selling themselves in the street to get it, then that's an issue. Having lots of sex because you're consulting a doctor who likes sex is not a problem. As long as you're safe, wrap it up, get tested, people.
I get it.
Oh, okay.
Shannon, would you like to add to this? Shannon, would you like to add to this topic? I said I was only coming in a supportive role here tonight.
Oh no, but you being real transparent tonight. I'm like, where the greatest event of your life being like that was TMI. Do we all really need to know all that?
No, we don't.
Right? Like, what the heck? Again, it's not always just about you, sir.
Hey, I'm just I'm in a supportive role tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
And what is abroad? Exactly what is abroad? What country are we talking about?
Which one you want?
Anyone.
Information on?
Oh Lord,
what'd you say? Wait, what did you say? What did you say, D?
I said knowing you could be anyone.
Stop it.
The truth hurts, sir. Sorry. Hit dogs holler.
Stop it.
But yeah, here's the thing. Hypersexuality is very specific, and be very careful because here we sexualize everything. Like if a little girl is wearing a dress that somebody likes and she's fast.
Oh my gosh, she's fast.
Why are you looking at little girls like they're fast? Why are you sexualizing children? Right?
Right.
He's such a looker. He's going to be a heartbreaker when he's older. You're talking about a 4-year-old little boy. Like,
right.
Some sense, people. So we have to be very careful when we talk about what hypersexuality is and what it isn't. Right.
Right. And I did say to one of my friends, I was speaking to one of my friends who advised me to allow Coach Dee and Shannon to have the mic tonight because you might say something crazy. Because I said something during our conversation, and when I was talking to her, I was like, think about it like this, right? To me personally, sex is a treat. It's a treat that you enjoy with your partner. And, overdoing it and just being overbearing to your partner because you want it all the time. You got to treat sex like a treat with your partner. Am I right or wrong? She told me I was wrong.
You don't get...
I don't necessarily know that I would treat it like a treat. No, I think it's just the natural, normal part of
right.
the whole pattern of the relationship.
Yeah. She said the same
because
thing.
Because if it's a treat, that means that you'll withhold it when somebody's not doing something that you may.
Now, how many women we know? Ooh, you guys.
Is how
I didn't think of. I didn't think you would fall for that so quick. So how many
No.
women do you know have done that?
Done what?
Done what?
What you just said.
The whole withhold thing? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. That's not my issue.
Nah, but what
Let's
I'm
let's be
saying
very,
is,
let's be very clear. No one is owed anyone's body.
you're right, right.
If
I agree
somebody
with
doesn't
you.
want to have sex with you, they don't want to have sex with you. You're not owed it. Even if you're married
Right.
to them, you're not owed their body. And I think
I
all
agree.
too
I
often,
totally agree with that. But
I
would
think
you
people,
let's not skate over what I said though about women holding that as hostage
But
to
why do
make
you
them
just say it's just women? Men do it too.
do that.
Stop making it about women. Yes, there are
Do
men
please,
that.
they
that
do it
do
all
that.
the time. Yeah.
Huh. I've never experienced that, but I'll take you guys' word for it.
Well, I mean, a hoe probably wouldn't experience that, but
Yeah. It's not about you.
you always
That's a
trying
cheap.
to give it away. So
Yeah.
That
I'm
was a
sorry.
cheap shot. That was a cheap
I'm
shot,
just saying
Shannon.
you walked into that one.
That was,
You
that was a
walked
cheap
all
shot.
you ran into that one head first.
Yeah.
That
Because
was a cheap shot.
here's the thing. When you start thinking that you're owed, they cut me off. I'm like, why are they tired? Did your wife come home after working 40 hours this week, taking care of 3 kids, cleaning the house, doing the dishes, and all of a sudden you want to feel her up? And she's like, where's the foreplay? There's nothing. And you're like, oh, she's got a headache. I'm like, of course the woman's tired. The woman is
Interesting.
tired. Listen, I'm
Interesting.
in lots of relationship groups, and the number of women who complain about how idiotic their husbands are, who can't take a hint and don't listen to what they're told,
Hmm.
they are lucky.
What did
They
you
are
just,
lucky. People
what
are
did you
lucky that
just
sexuality is not a choice because there'd be a lot more single men out there.
did you just said not do what they're told? Did you just say that?
Huh? What?
Not doing
She's
what their wife is telling them. You're not even listening.
the way you said it, not doing what they're told.
Yes. If their wife is telling them, hey, I am tired. Can you do this and this and this? And they don't do this, this, and this.
Uh,
You know what I mean? If he comes home from work and then he's done for the day, whereas she's got a whole other job to do when she gets home, yeah,
mhm,
she's tired. And she's not going to pop it on like that just because he's ready,
right,
because he has not been listening to what she's been saying. And the opposite is true.
right.
It go either way. People are not owed their spouse's body.
Here comes Slash again. Let's see what he says.
Oh Lord. Anything that starts off what we referring to Big Meech.
Honestly,
Okay.
BMF, Big Meat might refer to Mr. Blow as being Tinder D because there's levels of fiending in the
It's fiending, not fiending, but fiending. FEENIN.
fiending in
But
the
okay.
lyrics of K-Side, JoJo, and Devontae and Mr. Davlin, the greatest. Sir,
Oh my
I'm
God,
gonna need you
Josie.
to do English. I no markisms because I can't translate tonight. My head hurts too much. Like
Ladies
just
and gentlemen, I knew that honeymoon was not gonna go on too long between Shannon, Coach D, and Slash. They're gonna always chop him up for the comments. Always get at him for the comments.
I should need a translator.
Thank you. Thank you. 5 years now. 5 years. We're still in
You guys been
translation mode.
translating for this guy. You guys been translating this stuff for 5 years.
No, yeah, we've had to have help. We either defer to you or either I just skip over the comment altogether.
Yeah, because I have no idea what that means. None of it.
So
Slash,
would
And
you like to
break it
translate
down
that?
for him.
You
Now
don't
Slash
even
gonna
know
come
what it
back and
means.
break it down.
You don't even know what it means. That's why you're asking him to break it down. Because no,
He'll,
if
he'll,
you
he'll
did,
come
you would
back and break
tell
it down.
us.
He'll come back and break it down. More than sure he would. More than sure he would.
no, I
So
lost my train.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said I lost my train of thought now.
It's all good. So my question for people who, when we talk about hypersexuality, right? Some of the important questions to ask. Do you experience feeling of guilt, shame, or regret related to your sexual behavior? Do you feel your sexual behavior is affecting your sense of self-worth or your ability to form healthy relationships?
Mm.
He's checking these things off. He's checking them off. He's checking them off.
So are those all questions that or
That's what
ask
one
the
would have to
person
ask. That's
that be that we're being considered to be diagnosed with this particular condition?
correct.
Like what? So
So
okay.
that's the question. That's some of the good questions that the ones should be asking themselves, along with trying to seek help for if they're having these issues here. And this guy is checking these things off by the tons here, man.
So are there
Really.
tools are there tools or resources or certain things that someone who may be diagnosed that they would do to try to minimize some of these compulsions?
Yeah, like Coach D said, man, seek help, seek real help. I mean, if
I mean, I
you
get that when you seek help, but what happens when you seek help? Like, are there certain tool, are there certain things that will tell you that can be, should be doing to try to minimize the thing? That's what I'm asking. I get the seek help, but when you're
I,
in the therapy, I mean, I don't know.
I just
yeah,
Google it. It says identify and manage triggers, build a support system, focus on self-care and overall well-being, and
right.
remember the long-term goal. But think of it like an addiction. It'd be one day at a time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you'd have to like practice makes improvement because no one's perfect, and just use your coping mechanism.
Right.
This is a
So
conversation with you and your psychologist, and figure out what your triggers are, and get deep down into it, and figure out what your triggers are, and go from there.
right.
This brings to mind, and I don't know if you remember when Eric Benet was married to Halle Berry, right?
Mm.
And I used to
Mhm.
love it. Like I love Eric Benet. And back then he was just like when he had them long dress and all that. Yeah. Anyway. And
Oh
remember
my
when he was
God.
doing all yeah, you just don't know. Um, but anyway, I digress here. But then when he was doing all the cheating and stuff on her like multiple times, and when he came out, he said he had a sex addiction, and I always blamed her
Mhm.
because I'm like that girl's stupid. I was like, we got to work that thing out, figure out how to work this little set because I ain't let go of Eric Benet. But anyway, that wasn't the case. I realize now it's a medical condition. But I'm just wondering what he did, if he treated that, like what he did, or was that just like a PR ploy just to kind of cover the fact that you just being a one of those
So
men that just like to lie and cheat and was a womanizer.
Uh,
let me
But anyway,
piggyback off of that
I
what you
always
just
think
said.
about that situation when we talk about sex addiction. He always comes to mind.
Let me piggyback off of what you just said, right? When we talk
Mm-hmm.
about sex addictions and all this other stuff and whatnot, I have an issue. It's a medical issue, chemically off balance and all this stuff. Sometimes they just cheating. Let's keep it on it. Let's keep it on it. Sometimes they're just
Yeah,
cheating. Sometimes they can't keep it in their pants.
true.
hmm.
Let's
So there's
let's keep it
definitely
on it.
there's a different difference between somebody who's cheating and somebody who has a medical issue, though.
Right. I
Because
get it.
if they had a medical issue, it wouldn't be just with one person. Like if they were cheating.
Thank you. Yeah.
Don't you dare! Don't do it.
You must be talking to the cat.
Yeah, Luna wants to jump up on the laptop. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm like, make
that's
your
that
choices,
that's
man. Make better
that's how
choices.
that's I
Exactly.
know it all too well.
Yeah,
They be thinking in their mind, plotting in their mind that they about to jump up on you.
yeah, and
Oh,
she's
Slash and
14
came back.
pounds, so she's not.
Slash came
She's
back.
not
Same.
little.
Slash says.
Coach D, I vividly remember the Angel. Gosh, the Angel perfume commercials about the wife stating she could bring home the bacon, fry it up a pan, and never forget he was a man.
Angel.
What I like.
Oh, that wasn't. You remember that commercial? I can bring him the bacon. Fry it up
Yeah.
in a pan.
Oh yeah.
But that wasn't called Enjoy. It was something else. I don't think it was called Enjoy. It was in the 80s. I remember it though.
I'll look it up.
I think he's referencing to your he's responding to your comment on a woman being
It was
tired.
like Ajoline or something. It wasn't Enjoy. It was like Ajoline. Ajoline, something like that.
So,
No,
so you're
he's
not gonna
Joli.
address that, D?
What, in 1979 when women didn't have bank accounts and couldn't get a credit card?
This girl.
This is what you want to talk about. You have to talk about the whole thing.
Right.
When I saw Mark's comment, I knew exactly what you were gonna say.
Well, here's the thing. If we if we look at stuff that's from 30 years, 40, 50 years ago, because 79 was near 50 years ago.
Oh God. Oh God. Okay.
Sorry, my birthday's coming up on Friday, so I'm very aware where the 70s are in years. But here's the thing: we have to remember what society was like then, right? And the stereotypes and the expectations that were put on women, right? And thankfully, we are fighting. We still have many of those expectations, but now we're fighting through them. We can get our own credit cards, buy our own houses, all that stuff. Although, when somebody came to my house to ask for a siding, they told me that I had to speak to the man of the house, and I told him that he can walk away.
Oh,
Yeah,
Isn't that interesting?
it's very misogynistic still.
But if anybody listening who feel like they have some of those issues, are you willing to seek professional help if that's really what your issue is? That's the question. If that's really what your issue is, are you willing to seek professional help for that?
And but here's the thing: if it is a medical issue, most people don't realize it is until they hit rock bottom.
Right.
Unfortunately, because that's how it comes out. Because you have to acknowledge you have a problem in order to get help. That's like one of the big things at AA. You can't. They have like 12 steps for a reason.
Exactly.
Right? You can't just go, yeah, I have help. I'm cured. I talked to a doctor. So,
exactly.
And there's a difference between
Go ahead, say it.
There's a difference between hypersexuality and just liking sex. So we have to remember that, because all too often people like to think that if somebody enjoys sex, then there's something wrong with them.
Right. That's true. That is so true. That is so true.
And sexuality is not a choice. You're born that way.
So you're saying you think he's dealing with the trauma bond instead of the hypersexuality.
Yeah, because it's if their relation is always on a roller coaster, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because there's ups and downs. It's in a cycle. Right? It goes around and around. He's not hypersexuality. He's just stuck in a trauma bond, and the sex is really good with that person. If he was hypersexual, he'd be trying to screw everybody.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Now, Coach Dee, we've had this conversation.
A ton of people don't realize it, but they're all attached to trauma bonds. A lot of folks have been in marriages for 25, 30 years. That could be 30 years of trauma.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't recognize that.
But here's the thing, is because we don't talk about it enough. We don't talk about how people are emotionally manipulated or financial abuse. We talk about physical abuse, but financial abuse can be even worse, right? Or mental abuse, right? If somebody holds the pocketbook and you have to beg them for grocery money, and they decide how much grocery money you get, and you have to figure out how you're going to feed everybody with that little amount because that person hasn't been grocery shopping in 30 years, right? All kinds of stuff.
We talked about that a couple of years ago.
About different types of abuse.
Yeah, what you just spoke on about how you're financially holding the purse. Knowing that you have control of the purse, you're manipulating with that purse.
Yeah, that's why I tell people they should always have some type of source of income, even if it's a little side job. Where have some source of income, you can put some money aside. And people are like, Dee, you're just condoning them to leave. I'm like, no, I'm making sure that if they get left, which happens a lot, especially if a woman gets sick, if they get left, they have something to feed themselves. Because I have seen and heard too many horror stories about somebody who's been married for 45 years. He cleans out the bank account, kicks her out of the house, and she has 87 cents to her name.
Women do that too now. Women clean out bank accounts too now. Women, and I'm speaking from experience. Women clean out bank accounts too.
Well, I'll tell you what men always say: choose better, sir.
You came locked and loaded, huh?
Oh, don't I always?
Came
She
locked
said
and
she's
loaded.
better.
Came
Like,
locked and loaded.
because listen, here's the thing: is you don't want any. You always want to have an option just in case. Like if that person gets sick, right? Everybody's head automatically goes to divorce. What about illness? What if they have a heart attack? What about if they're in a car accident? Right? Tomorrow is not promised to anyone.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's always
Slash
good to
came
make
back.
a backup plan.
Exactly. Slash come back with a comment in one sec.
I consider Florida Evans a top 5 TV wife. James worked 3 jobs and she still fried the bacon, and grandmama made sure that a man had 2 vital things before leaving the house.
But I entertain it. We're not entertaining that BS tonight. We're not. We're just not. We don't even need to read that comment.
Hey, we can't do that. We
Florida
cannot do that to a faithful viewer. We cannot do that to a faithful viewer, Shannon.
He need to choose better comments then. I'm like, D, choose better comments, sir.
Just because you don't like the comment, don't mean that it's not a great comment, though, Shannon.
He shouldn't have comments that want to put women back into a more subservient role.
And she's a bad example anyway.
He also says, what he said? Can you read that, D?
Yo, Mr. Epic, I got 5 on Mr. Blow getting a special massage with a happy ending.
Who the heck is Mr. Blow? This all sound real.
Joe Blow, Joe Blow, Mr. Joe Blow.
That's what Joe Blow get it. Like, why
that's the name.
Another name.
That's the name he gave the person.
That's the name we gave the person, Joe Blow.
No, not we. No we in this.
Because that sound real. That sound like something else, Mr. Blow. Like,
D, what you said? Not we.
Blow?
D said, not we.
No, there's no we in that. That's you and him. That's not a we. Not a we.
So we come down to, we think that is a trauma bond. And after Coach D explained it, I'm going to have to agree with that. I think it's more of a trauma bond than a hypersexuality situation going on there. So, yeah, and over the years, say 17 years of it, it's got to be a trauma bond.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and once, when you're in a trauma bond for all those years, your head get cloudy, man. Your head get very cloudy. You start seeing things through rose-colored glasses and all that, and you're not believing what you're seeing. But what you see, that's exactly what it is.
But here's the thing. If somebody's been in a relationship for that long, forget the trauma bond. There's a whole other thing, is that they're caught in their own story, the story of what they want this relationship to look like and what they think the relationship looks like.
Right.
And people will overlook a lot of stuff because they're afraid to end that story and open a new chapter.
One more time to the people in the back. That was powerful, what you just said, the tail end of that.
That people will overlook a lot of stuff because they're afraid to end that story and start a new chapter.
Absolutely.
Right? And people are like, oh, gee, you're always telling everybody to break up. I'm like, you know what? There are way too many people stuck in relationships that they shouldn't be in, that's not serving either of the people. Because people are like, oh, we can't get divorced. I'm like, yes, you can. Don't let your now stop you from your forever.
Exactly.
Right? Sometimes you need to end where you're at before it becomes hell on earth and you become miserable.
Exactly. People find themselves in situations like that where they're afraid to pull that trigger. But they're afraid to pull that trigger because they don't want to walk alone.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to walk alone, honestly. They run away from that, but they don't even realize, not realizing that they're piling on the trauma. They're piling on extra stuff the longer you stay in that situation. So, hey, trauma bonds. And hey, to be honest with you, check out us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Tailgate TV. We got a ton of stuff, a plethora of topics like trauma bond, the mother wound, all that stuff. But the number one podcast for us on Apple is still Trauma Bond.
That's because a lot of people realize that they have been exposed to trauma throughout their lives. And people are like, oh, I was beaten as a kid and I get through it. I'm like, no, you're not normal if you want to smack a 2-year-old. Right? If a child makes mistakes and you want to hit them, let me follow you to work and I'll hit you every time you make a mistake. Whoa, D, that's assault. Really? Why is that? Well, because we don't learn from hitting. Oh, really? Why is that? Right? Like when you talk to people, eventually people figure it out. So if you're out there and you're just enjoying sex with people, make sure you cover it up, make sure you get tested, make sure you're safe and careful, all that good stuff, right? Go to the clinic together. Don't believe any piece of paper that anybody gives you because it's too easy to Photoshop.
It's funny that you would say that. I totally agree with that. Go to the clinic together. I have a friend of mine who dates, right? But and I mean, in these day, in this day and time, I had to agree with her on her rules. Even before kissing, she got to get the STDs taken care. You got to make sure everything is good with them. Got to go take that test. And if it comes back, but he failed, she's like, "Nah, we can't do nothing." She cuts it off. Cuts it completely off. I'm like, wow, that's kind of harsh. I was like, even if you like him, she said, yeah, even if I like him, I got to cut him off. He'd come back with a negative test.
Yeah, you can like them and they be killing you.
That was deep. Yeah, that's real talk. That's definitely real talk.
TLC said 3 letters took them to their final resting place.
Yep.
Exactly.
So go chase some waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. There you go. You're welcome.
Says
his body couldn't handle. And one vote for him getting his toes curled like Marcus and Boomerang. He's met his Jack. You know what?
You just can't help it. He can't help it. I have come to the conclusion he just can't help it.
That wasn't a bad comment. Everybody's seen Boomerang. Everybody's seen Boomerang.
And everybody knows Britney's song Toxic.
I don't know if everybody's seen Boomerang. How was it worldwide?
Boomerang was a very good movie. Very good
1992.
movie. Yeah, it was a very popular movie. Very popular movie. Produced by Eddie Murphy. I think that was his first offering off of his
it was very popular. But it was very popular in the US. How did it do worldwide? Because we have a worldwide audience.
I get it. I'm more than sure it did well over there.
Oh Lord.
Sure.
Trent, just
would it be an Eddie Murphy?
Leave it
would
alone,
it be an Eddie Murphy? I'm more than sure it was internationally. No. I wasn't abroad when the movie came out. I was in the States.
Leave it, Trent, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Unless you got some facts and numbers, leave it alone.
I'm not first of all, this is gumbo talking. We gumbo talking the rest of the way. I'm not gonna be digging up these numbers. Well, how did it do internationally? I really don't give a damn.
Land the plane. It's a clear day, sir. Land it. Just land.
Domestic gross was 70 million. International was 61. Didn't do that well.
Oh, come on. 10 off? Come on, D.
Do you know how many billions of people there are in the world?
I get it, but 10 off? But D, ladies and gentlemen, D is very technical. She's very technical, and I knew she was going to pull it up. But 10 off?
Didn't I just tell you to leave it alone? You just don't want to listen.
Again,
you just
10
don't
off?
listen. Again,
10 off?
I know the country I was living in 92, it wasn't that popular.
What country were you living in?
In 92, I was in Canada.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, Trent, that movie was very popular amongst the Black community. Yeah. It's not like it's other movies that kind of like The Nutty Professor, or what were the other ones? The ones that kind of crossed over to wider audiences other than our folks.
So you telling me we ain't got Black people all over the world?
I'm not saying we don't have Black people all over the world, but clearly a lot of our Black films.
Yeah. Especially in 92.
Yes, back in, yeah.
Again, I'll stand 10 toes down. It was a popular movie.
Oh my God, Jesus. It was a popular movie. No one's saying that it wasn't a popular movie, but you made a comment that I think was said as an absolute, meaning like as if everyone knew about it. 10
million off from the gross sales. Come on.
Oh my God. Why won't you just leave it alone? You just don't listen.
Since
That's your problem.
You're going on there. The top 8 movies
there she go.
were Unforgiven, Aladdin, The Last of the Mohicans, Wayne's World, Howard's End, The Crying Game, Malcolm X, and Lilo, which was a Canadian film. Didn't even make the top 10, sir.
Sorry, I told you just to leave that sugar honey iced tea alone, but no, you got to keep going. You can't just shut up.
I got to keep going because I know exactly what she's going to do.
You just That's the
I
problem.
know what
That's
she
why
was
he's
gonna
sitting over
do.
there with you and the dog, with you and Kobe. And if Kobe leaves, I don't know what you gonna do. It's just
Kobe ain't
gonna be
going
you looking
nowhere.
at the daggone four walls. And you better
Kobe's,
start listening. You better start listening. And when people tell you, just let it go, let that stuff go.
ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'm very
Kobe,
capable.
back place if you need help.
I'm very
Right?
capable. I'm
Kobe's
very
awesome.
capable. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very capable of walking alone. I think we all know that.
Oh, that's good, Dave. So I Kobe blink twice if you need help. I
As you
know.
as
I
you
need
as
to.
you see, they totally disregarded what I just said. I'm very
Yes,
comfortable
we
walking
totally
alone.
understand. We know.
Very
We know.
comfortable walking
And we're
alone.
and you know what? It's a good thing because I think that's where you're going to be. So
And I'm good with that.
we know that's why. And you know what? That's why God made you comfortable with being alone.
Exactly. I'm very good with it. Anyway, let's get to Slash real quick.
Do we have to?
Oh my
Yeah, we
god.
do.
Oh my God! No, we're not. No, that is ridiculous. What does this even mean?
What did he
They
say?
talked about hoodoo,
Yeah, that's what I'm
witchcraft.
thinking. The spaghetti.
Yeah,
Y'all need
all
to.
Mr. Epic. Also, Mr. Epic, this is New Orleans area. Tell them to check if any briefs are missing. Also, pass on the spaghetti. You don't have
I
to.
get.
So, if you into witchcraft, you don't need briefs or spaghetti.
What are now? I know
The
about the
whole
spaghetti, but what's the briefs? If they are
There's a
they is
saying.
it because
There's
they're
a saying here in
taking the underwear?
Louisiana. If they take the underwear and they bury them, some people believe that. I don't believe that, but that's a saying. It's a saying. Hold on a sec. There we go. Yeah,
Y'all
there's a
some
saying
weird
here in
stuff though. Like you got some good food and drinks down there, but y'all got some weird other stuff. Be weird as I don't know what.
well, you definitely enjoy
hoodoo.
yourself every time you come. I digress though.
Listen, make you want to trap somebody, get a honey jar. I'll leave it at that. You can figure out the spell from there.
Oh my god.
What?
Oh
Well, if
my
you
god.
want to talk about hoodoo and spaghetti, then talk about the real stuff, not the pretend
That's
stuff.
hilarious.
So it is what it is. It came
Mark says what
with
he says.
centuries of knowledge. But the princesses knew exactly what I meant. I have no idea what you mean half the time, sir. I knew that the spaghetti and the briefs because they're spells. I know that.
That is hilarious. That's hilarious.
I had that for a minute. I had to exit and come back.
So what are we
Oh,
going to talk about
that's
next week?
I don't know. This was you guys' topic, so I don't know what you want to talk about. Hey, let's you think we ought to take a chance on doing some politics?
Oh God.
Quite interesting what Elon Musk is doing these days.
What? The girls had a fight again? I haven't been
Oh, did
following
they?
it.
Yeah,
I've,
he started the third party, even though there's already a third party, in my opinion. But it's called
Oh
America,
my God.
the America Party.
What?
Interesting.
Yeah, he just did it on the 4th. He just
No, yeah,
announced it on the 4th.
the big bad bill, all
Yeah,
870, 493 amendments of nonsense.
exactly.
That's all right. All
The
those
guy who he placed as head of that party is the CEO from Tesla. I find that quite interesting.
Hmm.
it was his
I find that
party.
quite
Interesting.
interesting. Exactly, his party, exactly. So that is hilarious. I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy that popcorn and see them fight it out.
Mm.
Slash says,
Oh Lord, the sex toys industry. What's your question about that? He says the
As a
sex
topic.
toys
"Oh, he
industry.
said top. He
Oh,
said
as a
topic,
topic.
topic."
Oh, oh. Okay. What about
I
the
don't know. I
industry
don't know how
though?
it could be a topic. If
Yeah.
need more
I'm
information,
sure.
sir.
I'm more than sure the toy sex toy industry is very popular
Yeah.
down in your area, and Shannon, with that candy coated thing. Huh? It's popular,
Oh,
real
you mean
popular down there.
Yeah, that's well, first of all, it's not just that. Why don't we say this down here? She just happens to be from here and that's her company. Like that don't stand mean that that's all over. That was in New York, according to or in LA, according when they raided Diddy's house, all the stuff they found. So that wasn't just Atlanta.
Mm.
Mm. Mm.
Uh
I'm
Be
just
trying to put
saying.
that. Don't be trying to put that on us.
All I
I'm
know
just-
is if Diddy had done what he was doing to white women, Diddy would not be acquitted on no charges. That's for sure.
You know what, Coach D? I actually kind of believe that. Yeah.
No comment. I
I
won't
don't
make any
think. I mean,
comments.
although,
I
I
won't
mean,
make any comments on that.
although, based on I thought the whole, and I'll just say this part
The
about it. I
case
thought
wasn't
the whole,
strong at all. Be honest with you.
I thought the Rico part was really reaching, and
Reaching, seriously reaching.
based on what you heard as far as what the testimony was, I was like, I don't see that, but you know. But it was interesting that he had a
that's what happens
a
when you go
Rico
to
case
mixing and
by
mingling with the
himself.
Europeans.
So,
That's exactly what happens when you go to mixing and mingling with the Europeans, doing all kind of
oh
crazy
God,
stuff.
oh God, okay,
I'm
all
just saying.
right.
Now, those are facts, ladies and gentlemen. Those are facts.
How is that a fact? And I'm not disputing you. I just want you to explain
When we
really
talk
very
about
quickly within 30 seconds or less how that's a fact.
very quickly for 30 seconds or less, we talking about all the stuff that he was doing. Average black people don't do that type of stuff. Average
where would
black people do not do that type of stuff. And I'm going to get explicit here just for a quick second. When
Mhm.
and I'm reading off of stuff that they said in court. He wanted her to get done raw and bring the sperm to him to have it rubbed on him. Black men don't do that.
but he is black.
And he
Yeah, because
did
he's
it.
mixing them in with those Europeans.
She ain't European. She's black too.
But he's the one initiating everything.
Listen, they're back. They're black men doing a whole lot of stuff. So I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't either, because R. Kelly was doing some crazy stuff too, and there was I don't know what Europeans you think he was mixing with. You
See,
should know.
ladies and gentlemen,
You was in that
Shannon,
industry. You know, you saw some stuff.
I saw a whole bunch of stuff with a whole bunch of Europeans.
Oh God. Okay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Shannon and Dee, they always they keep me, tied to, hey man, you got to be careful what you say. And I'm on a string over here. I'm handcuffed over here. So I'm glad you guys said that. It reminds me, with this condition.
We're trying to keep you
Every
from getting
Thursday.
because your mouth is stupid sometimes. It's what we're trying to do.
They try to keep me out of trouble, and I appreciate them. I love them for it.
You was on what? You okay, Coach D?
They try to keep me out of trouble, and I love them for it. I love them for it. But without the handcuffs, I'm over there Thursdays and sometimes on Tuesdays. Conversation in prime time with Slash, 7 p.m. sharp. 7 p.m. sharp.
What are y'all talking about this week? So I'll know if I need to show up.
Shannon, I keep telling you, you cannot bogarde that podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it. That's a
The more
safe
you
space
tell
for
me,
men.
the more you tell me I can't do it, the more I get determined to do it. So just
That's
keep
a
saying
safe space for men. That's a safe space for men.
You don't need
and
a safe space.
And also on Thursdays, I'm on with nutritious coach Catherine Getto over in France, 7 a.m. stateside, the 14-hour European time over in France. So yeah, good stuff. Over there in the Northern Hemisphere.
Paris time.
Well, I'm sorry, say that again.
It's Paris. You're on the Paris time. Not European time.
Europe has like 14 hours.
Yes, but Europe has multiple time zones.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's actually flexing on me right now. She's flexing on me right now. And I love it.
I got
She's
to
flexing
go.
on me right now.
After that, I got to go. Yeah, that was it. That was it for the night.
Yeah, Luna needs out, so Xavier trapped her in here. She doesn't usually stay in the room.
Shannon, go ahead and close out since you gotta go.
Yeah, that was enough for me. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all for joining. Mark, thank you for the comments. We truly appreciate your engagement in the conversation. And you did have some stuff, and then what was good, and then you fell off the wagon, and we'll see what happens next week. But great conversation as always. So thank you all for joining. We look forward to seeing everybody next week. Bring somebody with you, and make sure that you go over to Apple iTunes and subscribe and pull up the shows. All right. Have a great week, you guys.
Bye.
You guys be epic.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.